Thousands of employees are fired from their jobs every year in Wisconsin, and their employers say it's for a good cause.
But there is a growing number of small business owners frustrated with the state for paying those workers unemployment benefits. Those businesses say that's driving up their costs. Tonight, Fox 11's on special assignment as Mark Leland looks into the system that has those business owners fed up.
Wisconsin is coming off record unemployment, and jobs are still hard to come by for some. We understand the struggle in finding good-paying jobs, but this story is not about that. Instead, we take a different angle, focusing on the cost of unemployment for small businesses in the state. Small businesses everywhere are struggling to compete, and owners say they can't afford to pay for employees not willing to work. But when employees are fired for reasons like not showing up for work without notice, the businesses still end up paying when the state allows the workers to collect unemployment benefits.
This is wrong, and it is stymieing business in the state of Wisconsin. It is stymieing business owners.
Lynn Seidel-Babcock owns home care health services and hospice in Manitowoc with a staff of 140. She has terminated a few employees in the past couple of years. The last one in the file, she says, failed to show up at a client's home numerous times and was still awarded unemployment benefits by the state.
Now, should someone sit at home and collect a paycheck because they no-showed, they didn't call us, okay, just didn't show up for taking care of an elderly person who they were supposed to give their meds to and those kind of things? I mean, should that person be collecting an unemployment check?
Seidel-Babcock blames the system for being too lenient. State law says a discharged worker is eligible for unemployment benefits unless he or she is discharged for misconduct connected with that employment. Out of the 700,000 claims submitted last year for unemployment benefits, only 27,000 moved on to an appeals hearing, where either the worker or the employer challenged the decision on unemployment benefits.
Employer at one of the rectangular tables?
So we sat in on an appeal hearing to see how it works. In this case, representatives of a small business in Madison are contesting the awarding of benefits to one of its fired workers. The company says he failed to follow policy,
Violated our rules,
even receiving a warning before eventually being fired.
The burden is on the employer to prove misconduct in this hearing.
Of all the cases that went through the appeal process last year, state officials tell us 55% went in favor of the employer, with 45% won by the fired worker. While some business owners say they don't bother to challenge the state's decision to pay benefits, there is an incentive for the employer. Every business pays money into an unemployment insurance account, and that tax on the business, a percentage of taxable wages, goes up when the funds in that account are paid out.
So if anytime there's a decision made to, give benefits, they're going to pay for them.
And yet Craig Barkler, administrator of the state's Division of Unemployment Insurance, admits some fired workers who collect the cash don't deserve it.
Well, particularly the small business owners. There are some decisions that seem to fly in the face of common sense.
But he says the administrative law judges likely are not at fault. They are conducting legal proceedings and have to follow the rules of evidence.
And if an employer fails to provide the appropriate witnesses with first-hand knowledge or the documentation that's needed to, prove the case, and if they're not really prepared for the hearing, sometimes the decision has to go the other way.
It's not really a fair system.
Seidel-Babcock first came to our attention last fall when she raised her unemployment benefits concern at the Governor's Small Business Summit at Lambeau Field. In a session allowing business owners to raise questions with the way government is run, the room full of fellow business owners seemed to agree with Seidel-Babcock.
I really feel like something has to give here. 3/4 of the people in this room raised their hand.
Walker administration officials indicated they were trying to make the state more small business friendly.
And I just think that outreach is the answer here.
Barkler says in addition to information on the Department of Workforce Development website, his office is coming up with educational videos to help employers be better prepared at those appeal hearings.
So that employers, particularly the small businesses that don't have HR departments, will know how to prepare for these hearings so they can have more success in those instances where, maybe that person should have been disqualified.
As if small businesses weren't hit hard enough, just this year all employers across the state are being forced to pay a new fee. That money will be used to pay interest off funds borrowed from the federal government, money the state needed in order to pay its unemployment benefits.
And in the end, those costs could be passed along to you, the consumer, in the form of higher prices for goods and services. In Madison, Mark Leland, Fox 11 News.
Now, in addition to the educational videos being developed, the Department of Workforce Development has also set up 6 one-day labor law clinics around the state starting next month. The clinics are for employers interested in, among other things, learning more about who's eligible for unemployment benefits. Now, none of the clinics is in our area. The closest would be Rothschild or Milwaukee. You can find a link to the dates, location, and cost of the clinics online in the Newslink section of our website homepage.